Basically, my training, it's basically been the same since day one. It's very basic, simple. Just like everything else in my life, I try to keep simplicity in there as much as possible. So right now, I mean, my schedule changes, of course, with guest appearance schedules and if I have certain things to do, appointments or whatnot. So I basically train 4 days straight now. I used to train 3 days on, 1 day off. I used to train 2 days on, 1 day off. But right now, basically, I train 4 days in a row. Day one would be back and traps. Day two would be quads and hamstrings. Day three would be shoulders and triceps. And day four would be chest, abs. Basically, I train abs almost every day, and calves usually once or twice a week. And then, of course, stretching every day for 20 minutes. So that's my routine. Basically, my training is very high intensity. My workouts are very quick, but with a lot of volume, a lot of sets, a lot of drop sets. Drop sets meaning, for example, if I'm doing incline bench press for chest, I may do a set with 315 pounds on the incline barbell, crank out 8 or 9 repetitions, basically to failure. Set the weights, step up for about 5 seconds, get back on the bench, crank out 2 or 3 more. That's basically my drop sets to failure. I don't drop the weight down. I do that kind of drop sets where, I don't change the weight. So high intensity training, high volume. Usually my repetition range falls between 8 and 12 repetitions. I do basically about 15 to 20 sets per body part. So that means for biceps I'll do 15 to 20 sets. For triceps I'll do 15 to 20 sets. Chest it's the same. Back I may even do upwards to 25 sets. It depends on the day. I basically go by instinct how I feel, and I train usually in the morning. One session, and then they go back in the afternoon and train a second session. And then, of course, when I'm getting ready for contest prep, I basically do 2 hours of cardio a day, upwards to 3 hours sometimes. So I'll be in the gym 4 times a day. Basically, it's 4 different sessions. I'm up. I get up all year round, basically by 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And I go to bed usually around 10 or 11 at night, and basically my day revolves around the training schedule and just business in between, phone calls and whatnot. So it's basically the same way I've been training for years. And I think basically when you build a certain amount of muscle, it's easier to train that body part. So I really don't have any lagging body parts that I have to take extra care training. So I like to train really high intensity shock training, which basically is very quick repetition. Like I said, almost sloppy training is what I like to call it, but sloppy in control. And I think that really helps stimulate the deep muscle fibers that way. And basically, that's it with my training. My diet, off season to pre-contest, it's stays the same, whereas I eat for carbohydrates, oatmeal and yams is my main carbohydrate sources, and then for proteins I usually have egg whites, turkey, lean beef, and protein powders, some chicken, and basically I eat 6 times a day, whether it's off season or pre-contest. Except off season I eat 6 times, 6 food meals, and then add shakes in between, so it's upwards to 12 portions. But of course half of those are probably protein shakes, and of course my calorie count goes way up, but not drastically. I mean, I eat somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 calories off season, whereas pre-contest I have a fluctuation. I have a high, low, medium schedule that I work with, where my calories range from 3,000 to probably 4,500, depending on what day. I like to usually go low carbs for a couple days, then maybe jump up to a high carb day, where my carbs fluctuate anywhere from the low days, 50 carbs a day, with very high amounts of protein, upwards to 600 grams of protein. And then on my medium days, maybe go up to 250 carbs. a day and keep my protein somewhere around 450. And then on my high days, high carb days, I usually go up to 500 or 600 carbohydrates and then drop my protein down to about 300. So where I add in the carbohydrates, I basically take out the protein. That's basically what I do off season, where I eat a lot more carbohydrates than protein. So in the off season, I eat about 300 grams of protein a day. Like I said, coming from meat sources, mainly in egg whites, protein powders. And then basically my carbohydrate ranges from probably 600 to 1,000 carbohydrates, but it's basically pretty clean food. The only things I like to have, like after a workout, is maybe some sugar, carbohydrate drink, and of course I like to eat out. So of course we eat out, a couple times a week, and I may splurge here and there. My favorite cheat foods, are probably like sweets such as candy and some sort of like carrot cake or cookies, sugar-free frozen yogurt, fat-free frozen yogurt. And basically that's all I eat, but I stay on I still weigh my food off season. I still carry my food when I travel as much as I can. And of course pre-contest I'm very, very strict, where I weigh everything to a T. I have a certain time that I get up every day. I train at the same time. I eat at the same time. That's the only difference, is I'm much more disciplined getting ready for a contest, because you have to be on the clock all the time, because any changes you make are crucial at that point, and you can actually not screw up that way. If everything's by the clock, you can adjust your diet. And if it's very simple, where you're only eating a certain amount of foods and a certain number of foods, then it's great, because when you do make adjustments, it's that much easier too. So I basically prepare all my food earlier in the morning, but basically when I eat low carbs, which is most of the time anyway, it's basically just preparing a bunch of vegetables I keep in the fridge, and then just cooking my meats. Meal by meal, I cook a lot of my meats on my George Foreman grill, which I use to cook my potatoes also, which I think is great. I travel with the George Foreman grill, and I think most bodybuilders do, but and of course steam all my vegetables. And the only thing I really have to make is my egg whites in the morning, which my wife usually makes for me before she heads off to work, because she gets up around 5, and by the time I get back from the gym doing my cardio, my meal's ready here, so meal one's pretty easy. And then I just basically prep my food through the rest of the day, after my training. And go do my cardio in the morning and come home, eat, go back to the gym and train, come home, eat again, sleep, eat another meal, go back to the gym, train again, come home, eat 2 more meals, and then go back to the gym for my last session of cardio, and come home, eat my last meal, which is basically protein, and then I go to bed and wake up and do it all over again the next day. So that's basically my routine for about 14 weeks before a contest. I start dieting, but I get real serious about 6 weeks out, where I have to really start dialing it down. I'm basically ready by 6 weeks out, but just have a little more body fat maybe on my back and my glutes, basically take off. So it takes the extra step, whether it's increasing the intensity of the cardio and making adjustments in my diet to take that body fat off, and of course attain the best condition that's possible for all these contests, because that's the name of the game in the pros now, is everyone's getting so conditioned. You have to be exactly on the money. So I think that's why it's important to weigh everything, have everything exactly. I write down everything I do, even if I go to the store to get some eggs, go to the tanning salon, which I do every day when I get ready for a show, basically starting 6 weeks out. I do everything exactly the way I should, and I write everything down. I have a journal. I have all my logs from all my contests, so I can refer back to them. Even though you have to make changes and adjustments for every show, you still have to have everything there written down, so you can refer to that and say, okay, what did I do last time? It kind of gives you guidelines and that you can follow for making adjustments in your diet and your training and your routines. So that's it, basically. Those 50 grams of carbs a day.
fill me up.
All the way up. Good job. Good, all the way up. Come on, push. Yeah. Good job.
Fill the pecs up.
She's kind of the backbone of my bodybuilding career. She's always supported me, and it's funny because on our first date I told her, I said when I was 16 years old I wanted to be a bodybuilder, and she didn't really even know what bodybuilding was, and honestly I didn't know what it was either, but I knew I looked like the look of the magazines, and I hadn't even touched weights yet, so I didn't even start training until I was 18. But so she supported me since day one. And basically I'll start in the beginning. I'm 27 years old. I was born August 3rd, 1973 in Worcester, Massachusetts, which is about 50 miles west of Boston. I have 3 brothers, 3 sisters. I come from a pretty large family. My parents are still alive. They live all back on the East Coast. Also her family's there. All my brothers and sisters, they still live originally where I'm from. Sterling, Massachusetts is a town I'm originally from. It's a smaller town, but I basically worked in construction when I was a kid. My family had a concrete business, so I worked from age 11 to 18 doing that. So I built a pretty good physique, and that's basically how I got involved in bodybuilding. I played football in high school, and of course toyed around with the weights a little bit. Now, I was always a strong kid. I remember going in when I was in high school and being able to bench 315 pounds the first time I ever went in there. So I was the strongest guy in my school, basically, and we had a pretty large high school of like 1,600 kids, I think, something like that. We both went to high school together. She played soccer, I played football. And so basically I wanted to wait until I graduated high school to start lifting weights because I worked so much and my diet wasn't right, and I started reading the books a little bit through high school, and then I basically joined the gym on my 18th birthday. I joined the Gold's Gym in Worcester, began weight training. Really didn't know what I was doing, but just being in the gym all the time and eating a lot of food, I put on weight pretty quickly. So I started about 175 pounds. I went up to about 220, 225, somewhere around there my first year of training, and then decided to compete. Did the team nationals, actually, my first contest when I was 19. That was in North Carolina, and I actually placed first there in the heavyweight. So I progressed pretty quickly. I was about 215 pounds for that contest. And I was fortunate when I first started, training. I didn't really know what I was doing. I asked a lot of questions, and actually got hooked up with Chris Aceto, who still works for me on nutrition. He writes a lot for Muscle Fitness and Flex, and he's always advised me on my dieting and training. So he helped me for that team nationals and drastically improved my body. Brought my weight down from 240 to about 215 and in very good condition. So I won that show and kind of got bitten by the bug. I went out to California, met Ed Connors of Gold's Gym, who I owe a lot of credit to. Also Luzowicz from American Muscle, he helped me out quite a bit in the beginning and introduced me to bodybuilding. And Ed put me up at his house and let me train out there and work around the pros a little bit, and I learned a lot and kind of just wanted to come back, and I decided to compete back in 1995. So in 1993 I won the team nationals. In 1995 I came back at 22 and won the Tournament of Champions out in California, just knowing that I would get the publicity that I needed, and of course by that time I had put on drastically much more size, competed at 241 there, won the show, basically piece of cake, and then everything basically started to happen. I mean, I was offered a Weider contract. I wasn't even a professional yet, and shot with all the magazines, got my first Muscle and Fitness cover, was on the cover of Muscle Mag, you know, and my career took off. So in the next year I decided to do the Nationals. I wanted to wait a year, so in '96 I won the Nationals as a heavyweight, earned my professional status, and of course signed a Weider contract in '96, and I was under contract with them, you know, straight through. So you know, Joe's backed me up quite a bit in bodybuilding, and
all the way up. Come on. All the way up. All the way down. Push.
Good. One more. It just dropped up to like 60.
All the way down.
so tired of saying 4 weeks. Every day is 4 weeks. Everyone says, oh, when's the show? Week away. Yeah, I only dream for that. Like 8 ounce.
Of course, signed a leader contract in '96, and I was under contract with them, straight through. So, Joe's backed me up quite a bit in bodybuilding, and I just basically took 1997 off after winning my pro card, just to give my body a little time to build up, and so I could move up in the pro ranks. And 1998, I came back, United Champions, came in a little off condition. I missed my peak and came in 11th at that show, and actually Ronnie Coleman won that. Kevin Leveroni got second, so that was the start of basically Ronnie's reign to the top. I think he won the Olympia the first time that year. So 1998, it was hard for me to take because I always had won, so it was kind of a step back for me. I had to sit back and revise my whole routine, and what I did is I just decided I'd come in at my absolute best conditioning for 1999. So I came back at the Pro Ironman and the Arnold Classic, where I got 3rd and 4th, and in my all-time best condition, stripped down to about 245 pounds, and I looked my absolute best I'd ever looked. So I actually competed lighter than when I turned professional in '96. And then I went to Olympia at the end of '99 and ended up placing 15th, which was kind of a setback for me because I thought I was in pretty good shape. But I just didn't get the calls. It was a good lineup, and it was understandable. So I had a lot of things in the works anyway. When I did the Olympia, I was moving out right after the show out to California to further my opportunities, which has been the best thing I've ever done because it's pulled me away from anything that kept me from doing bodybuilding back home, bumping into my schedule with my training and dieting. So Southern California move has been the highlight of basically my career, I think, much more than winning contests and whatnot. But I decided, I had to requalify for the Mr. Olympia 2000, so I did the Night of Champions in May and came in first there. It was a big win for me. Really didn't change anything, but I came in, at my absolute best, of course, that I had looked for that show, and I did what I needed to do. Basically, it was all business for me. No one really knew I was doing the contest, but I don't really say too much when I do shows. I don't predict anything, and everyone thought for sure that would, put me in a really good position at the Olympia, which I just did. Placed 8th there. I was happy with 8th because my goal was top 10. Just like next year, I can say it right now, my goal will be to place at least the same. Of course, I'd like to move up a little bit, but I don't expect it to go there and win. For next year, basically, I'm just going to focus on the Olympia and just try to improve on conditioning in detail rather than getting much bigger, because I don't really think I need to. I went over to Europe and I dropped like 13 pounds a week after the Mr. Olympia in Vegas and placed second there to Ronnie Coleman in 2 contests. So I know what I need to do. I know what kind of condition I need to be in, and I'll do that for 2001 for sure. And it will give me a whole year to prepare for the contest. So I can take a little break now. I have a lot of appearance scheduled. We're actually going on a cruise in a couple weeks. So I'm really looking forward to that. And basically I'm going to guest post through the spring, attend all the major contests, and focus more on business opportunities, and just make a decision what I'm going to do next as far as maybe after bodybuilding. I'm not really sure as of right now what I want to do. We've been discussing a few things that we'd like to do together, even though she's in her nursing. We would still like to do something together, and she's basically the only one that I can really work with because we work together so well. I mean, we're best friends. She's my wife, but she's also my best friend, and I can trust her. And she has the same sense that I have with business, where it's every move we make is basically revolves around making money, promoting myself, and giving something back in the business that we're in. So it just depends. I think she's going to miss her nursing if she ever pulled out of it. So I don't really want to pull her away from that. She has her life, I have mine, and she, of course, helps me as much as I help her and keep her focused. She keeps me focused. So I think you need a partner as far as in anything, to keep you motivated. And it always helps being around successful people. And I always, look at her and I give her so much respect because she works so hard, through school and everything. Just like she sees my training and dieting, and when I do well at the contest, I mean, it's like her win also. So it's great for both of us, and I'm just really happy. So basically that's my story. And it's bodybuilding's been really, really great to me. I enjoy going to the contests and having the great fan following. I think I'm getting more and more popular now, and I think that's important because you got to give something back to the sport also. It's not just about winning contests and always trying to improve, because my whole goal is always I want to look my absolute best for me. Rather, I don't really care what other people think. There's a certain look that I'm trying to achieve. It's not necessarily being the biggest, hugest, ripped guy. It's an all-around look where you can still stay marketable, and people actually look at your physique, and they look at your look and they say, that's a great look, I'd like to look like that. Anyone can look at some of these guys and say, wow, they're freaky, but ask them if they want to look like that. They don't say no, they say no. Or these guys, a lot of guys aren't happy with the way they look. I think they should follow their own instincts and do what they feel is right for them, because when it's all over, you look back and I can actually look back and say, wow, I achieved a lot, and it was exactly what I wanted to achieve. So like I said, I'm happy, and it seems like my fans are happy with the way I look at the contests. I know I probably could have been better at this year's Olympia, but I peaked for the Night Champions at my absolute best. So I think I peaked actually a little early for this Olympia, and tried to bring it down a little too far, and then things turned a little bit haywire at the end. So I'll be on the money next time. It'll give me a whole year to prepare, and I hope to see everyone through the other contests, and promote myself a little bit more, pursue some other interests. I mean, I'd love to get into acting or some sort of modeling. I mean, it's a dream of anyone's out here, but I'm not going to live the pipe dream like everyone else and say, I'm going to be an actor, I'm the next Arnold, and this and that. It's just, you just take advantage of opportunities that come to you, and if you don't get off the couch and chase those opportunities, they may not come. So I'm working on a couple things now, and I'm sure this video will help and give the people, the viewers, an idea of what Jay Cutler is all about, not only as a bodybuilder, but as a person. And, I'm always trying to attain certain goals. And, my goal when I started bodybuilding was basically, I said, I want to be financially secure. I want to buy my house. I want to buy my cars. I want to put a little money in the bank, and I'll be happy. And you know what? I've already achieved those goals. So people say, well, what motivates you? Well, being in this position is you know, I mean, I'm 8th in the world. It's an incredible feeling. What motivates me now is basically more the fans rather than all the fame and everything in bodybuilding. I don't like, you know, people coming up to me and saying, wow, you know, you're Jay, you know, and being nervous. And I'm just a normal guy, you know, it's just a job for me. And I'm glad I can help people and not only attain goals in bodybuilding, but in life in general. So I think that's important too. And, you know, that's it. You know, there's still more to Jay Cutler to come. So, you know, I plan to keep, you know, pushing all my photos out, do my mail order, do my hats, t-shirts, produce some more videos, you know, many other different things. We'll see what comes about. I just need to keep my wheels spinning and think of different things that I can do. I'm always thinking, and we're always thinking together, trying to scheme something, put something together. So I think that's important because, you know, you fall one step behind in bodybuilding. It's like any professional sports. I mean, you'll just get steamrolled. So I'm just going to try to stay on top and keep improving and keep my face out there and make everyone happy, basically.
All lats. All lats. Love my job. Ready? Let's do a couple more.